Respected elder brothers and sisters and rest of brothers and sisters, I always use this word, brothers, sisters. I really believe 7 billion human beings on this planet are actually part of human community. Same way we're born, same way we die. While we're alive, most precious thing is warm-heartedness. That brings inner strength, inner peace, and also create peaceful community. So, I actually try to educate people or share with people as much as possible to know the ultimate source of happiness is within ourselves, not on money or fame. So therefore, here I always also believe and also share with other people, we need a sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. Different faith, different nationality, different color, and rich and poor. It's secondary. Basically, we are same human being. Now, these days I have sort of 4 commitments. Number 1 commitment as a human being, promote basic human value on the basis of scientific finding. Now, number of scientists, they found constant anger, hatred, actually eating our immune system. And basic human nature, since we are a social animal, so basic nature is more compassionate. So that's the basis of our hope. Now what is we are lacking is existing education system. I usually call modern education is introduced from West. So the Western people, Judeo-Christian countries, they are, as far as spiritual field is concerned, only pray to God. Now, that's inadequate. Now, warm-heartedness, in order to keep warm-heartedness and in order to increase warm-heartedness, we must utilize human brain, not just faith. As I mentioned earlier, now scientists, number of scientists, you see, mentioned that. So we are not talking about next life or heaven or the kasa karma, tarva.
Salvation.
Oh, like that, nirvana. Simply, day-to-day life, everybody want happy life. So ultimate source of happiness is within ourselves. More compassionate mind, then that person automatically, you see, reduce anger, suspicion, frustration, these things automatically reduce. So therefore, now in education, we should include education about our mind. And now this country, not new, over 3,000 years, concept of ahimsa, concept of karuna already developed. Now I think this country, during British rule, they also introduce the modern education. Wonderful. However, they do not know. Only prayer, otherwise it's a training of mind, they do not know. So now, India's existing education should combine with 1,000-year-old India's education, how to tackle our emotion. So India is the only nation who can combine education about materialistic oriented education and including science, technology, very important, very good. At the same time, ancient India's education about ahimsa, karuna, through training of mind and full knowledge tackle our destructive emotion. That is India's tradition. Now that must combine with modern education and these ancient sort of Indian knowledge. So now my third or second responsibility is the promotion of religious harmony, and third regarding Tibet, and fourth now I'm trying to revival of these ancient Indian knowledge in modern India, combine modern education, which oriented materialistic sort of thing, and then ancient Indian knowledge about mind, these should combine. And India, 1,000 years, you have the tradition of secular. Wonderful. Whether you're a believer or non-believer, I believe in this religion, that religion, that's personal matter. As a human being, we need education, knowledge about our mind. Then this country, these things are not something like bring something new. No. India's own tradition. Only question is revival. So that's my sort of fourth commitment. Now here, real change in the world will only come from a change of heart. So now here, according to materialistic sort of education, knowledge, when we mentioned mind or chit, only sensorial level, not chit or mental level. So materialistic life, materialistic culture, through materialistic education, whole sort of people who come through that kind of education, is they are sort of the concept of happiness, joyfulness, only related with 5 senses of organs. Seeing something nice, hearing some beautiful music, and taste, and smell, and touch, including sex. These are sensorial level, not mental, sixth mind, mental level. So anger, compassion, these are on the level of sixth mind. So we need special training, special training about mental level, how to keep peace of mind. Pray or recite something not sufficient. We must utilize human brain and through human intelligence. Through that way, we have fuller knowledge. Such emotion are very destructive. It is antidote within our own mind. So realize that and pay more attention to strengthening these positive emotion, then automatically destructive emotion reduce. So only question of healthy mind, and through that way, healthy body. So now in that respect, in India, over 1,000 years, you see, really paying more attention about mind. So practice of shamatha, single-pointed mind, and also the analytical meditation, vipassana, over 3,000 years in this country. So, single-pointed mind sort of bring our mental energy more channelized. And the main mind increase the ability to focus one, then your main mind focusing that more seriously, then senses of organs become more neutralized. Right? And then the very purpose of shine or shamatha is sharpening our ability, our mind, wherever you want to concentrate. You see, the meditation is very helpful to Kasoda. Anyway, to stability. Then analytical meditation, analyze. Vipassana. Vipassana really, you see, change our sort of our mind, our belief, or our attitude. So, in Buddha Dharma, of course, you see, the Sangha philosophy also is tremendously sort of practice these things. And the Jains also, you see, very much sort of you practice these things. So Jainism, ahimsa, wonderful. Then after that, Buddha come. And also, you see, actually all major orders tradition carry the same message of love, message of tolerance, message of self-discipline. The differences, now theistic religion believe God, creator. Non-theistic religion, like one part of Sangha philosophy, no creator. Jainism, no creator. Buddhism, no creator, but rather self-creation. So the emphasis, how to train our mind, how to tackle our destructive emotion. So in Buddhism, after Buddha, there are many scholars, eventually some different traditions, school of thought. And then gradually Nalanda institution developed. So I usually do not use the word Mahayana and Hinayana. It creates something wrong impression. The Theravada is the foundation of Buddha Dharma. Usually we call Hinayana. Then Sanskrit tradition, Mahayana. No, the Sanskrit tradition is entirely based on Pali tradition. Without a Pali tradition, you see, we can't carry Sanskrit tradition as a Buddhist sort of practice. So, Pali tradition, very important. But Pali tradition mainly is based on Buddha's quotation. And then Nalanda tradition, you see, use analytical meditation, analyze. Buddha himself, you see, told us, "Oh, my follower, monks, scholars, should not accept my teaching out of faith, out of devotion, but rather thorough investigation and experiment." So Nalanda tradition exactly follow that advice. So, many Nalanda masters analyze some Buddha's own teaching. After they analyze through reasoning, they found some contradiction. So they reject even Buddha's own word. That's Nalanda tradition, like Nagarjuna and Aryadeva, Buddha, these people make distinction. This Buddha's teaching, we can accept literally. This Buddha's teaching, we cannot accept because investigate through reason, we find contradiction. So Buddha taught that particular audience, according to their mental disposition, Buddha taught that we cannot accept that. So that's quite unique, the Nalanda master. So I usually say Pali tradition and the Sanskrit tradition, not use Hinayana and Mahayana. And also I think a Nalanda tradition, meaning Sanskrit tradition, but sometimes I feel not necessary. They use the Nalanda word. Nalanda, then people get the impression, some connection with Buddhism. So simply, Sanskrit tradition. Many ancient non-Buddhist scholars, they also wrote in Sanskrit language. So at that time, Sanskrit language considered more educated people, sort of scholarly language. So like Nagarjuna and these Nalanda master, they use Sanskrit text, Sanskrit word. So it is quite clear. Pali tradition, Sanskrit tradition, not necessarily just Buddhism, but all ancient Indian sort of scholars use Nalanda, the Sanskrit language. So now, as I mentioned earlier, the difference is Pali mainly quotation, based on quotation. Sanskrit tradition, analyze. So now today, when we discuss with scientists, according Sanskrit tradition, it's very easy to learn each other. And the number of scientists really sort of they find useful about this knowledge in Sanskrit tradition. I think mainly psychology, about mind. Sometimes I sort of express this way. The modern psychology, compare ancient Indian psychology, modern psychology looks like kindergarten level. The ancient Indian sort of psychology, highly developed. So now, in order to develop peaceful mind, this knowledge which exists in Sanskrit tradition, very, very useful. Then the logical approach. As a sort of student of Sanskrit tradition, in our mind, whenever we come across something, we never say, yes, yes. We always, why? That's very important. So the risk, why? Then investigate, reason. Yes, sir. Then, you see, our intelligence no longer sort of room. Why? Then plenty of room. Investigate. So therefore, according to my own sort of little experience, meeting with modern scientists, mainly in psychology and physics, and particularly quantum physics, we are very similar. once the Raja Ramana, late Raja Ramana, as he told me, quantum physics in West, something new. In this country, 2,500 years ago, already developed quantum physics. It is very true. So, it is quite useful in order to tackle emotion. Or emotion, destructive emotion, very much based on appearances and some kind of grasping or just something absolute true. Then attachment and anger, this come. So once we realize there is differences, appearance and reality, and that strong grasping, that automatically become weak. Now some quantum physics student, already you see getting that kind of experience. That's exactly Nagarjuna mentioned. And many Buddha's quotation mentioned Tsumi Jigitwana Yungorsati.
Yes. So our grasping at things as if they have some absolute existence it happens because of our what is known as called inappropriate mentation.
So, here I want to share with you one of my secret. That is when I met scientists and when they explain about quantum physics, then I really sort of listen humbly. But in my mind, I feel I know better. Actually, you see, we, in Tibetan tradition, according the instruction of Shanta Rakshita from Nalanda, we extensively, you see, study these sort of knowledge. So, the Vibhashik, not much talk. And Sotantik, also not much, but little. Then Chittamantra and Madhyamika extensively, you see, explain about differences, appearance, and reality. So we study several years and also meditate. Therefore, actually we know better like that. So therefore, these is a concept very useful. Then, psychology and quantum physics. Then, kasa, neurobiology. Or neurobiology, and particularly in tantric sort of study, explanation about our inner energy, how to control these things. So we have sort of plenty of sort of material to discuss with the modern scientists, and they also appreciate to learn from Buddhist psychology or these Buddhist philosophy, these things. So we both, our principle is why. So investigate. Therefore, now some Chinese scholars, they found Tibetan Buddhism is true Nalanda tradition, and that tradition is a very scientific religion. Some Chinese scholar, they express that. So it is true. So the Sanskrit tradition, I think really is immense help to bring ability about our mind to investigate. So therefore, now these are Indian tradition. So modern India, now I notice there's more and more people really showing interest about ancient Indian knowledge. So now this university also now really have some program and have close contact with some Tibetan scholar. So and many other places in the Chandigarh University, I met, I saw talk, and then different places, more and more Indian, now really showing interest about ancient Indian knowledge. So this is not something like bring from outside. No, India's own tradition. So only question is revival and combine modern education and ancient Indian knowledge, like that. So then, when we talk about ancient Indian knowledge, I often, you see, sort of teasing my Indian friend, this physical, not Indian, Tibetan, but my mind more Indian than those modern educated Indian. They do not know these things. So this is nothing special for me. But thousands, you see, I think scholar, mainly a monk. Nowadays, nuns also become now coming, more and more scholars, and also because of bhikshuni. So, in any way, in the Karnataka state, I think at least over 1,000 monk students who really study these things, at least in order to become a scholar, at least 20 years study. And in the past, in Tibet, 20, 30 years study. The root text learned by heart. Myself also, about I think 6, 7 years old, I already start memorize these root text. Then explanation, each word, according commentary, mainly Indian master. And then, of course, later Tibetan masters. I think over 10,000 volumes wrote by Tibetan master. Then we extensively use debate, logical approach. It's very, very useful, sharpening our mind, and quite sort of, because the person who study logic, then their mind always something, because of the sharp, very useful. So some Japanese, a Chinese tradition, these Buddhist meditation, they consider meditation is more important. Of course, no question, meditation important, but equally important is study. So some Japanese monastery, sometimes I suggested, your monastery should become learning center, more discussion, not just a meditation. So now more and more Buddhist countries, particularly follow our Nalan tradition, now they begin to feel study is something important. One of my close, very respected abbot, one Japanese monk, abbot, wonderful. Since we become very close friend, so he once told me, every Japanese recite the Paramita Sutra, Shirunyimu, Heart Sutra. Then he said, without knowing the meaning. So he appreciated my explanation, very useful. So he expressed to me like that. These sort of important sort of text, just something like ritual, not study. Study is very important. Now in Tibet, I think, as I mentioned earlier, firstly Shantarakshita, and then Kamalashila, they really, you see, put emphasis, study is important. So during Kamalashila, you see, he carried debate with Chinese meditationer, and Kamalashila, and witnessed by Tibetan king Chusong Tsen. So through debate, then Kamalashila, of course, naturally more sort of scholar, so he can reasoning. So then some of those Chinese meditationer who oppose study, expel from Tibet, like that. So I think today's world, today's Buddhist world, we Tibetan, only Tibetan kept these Nalanda tradition through serious sort of study and use logical approach. So now, fortunately, in South India, our traditional major monastic institution established in the Karnataka state, quite close here. So you can exploit these Tibetan scholars' knowledge. Very good. So recently I invited Kasa, Aurangabad, or number of Buddhists there. But then, you see, they are so far only sort of follow Theravada tradition. Of course, wonderful, but not much use reasoning. So there are also, I briefly mentioned about the Nalanda tradition, Sanskrit tradition, use human intelligence maximum way. That's important. Now here, and this knowledge, the original source from Buddhist text, but you should use these as an academic subject, not Buddhist subject. And sometimes not necessarily use Nalanda tradition, but simply use Sanskrit tradition. So one time, Kasadi, Chagupu Timare Kasa, Kasa Pegiri, Kasa. Mare did such a big design. Amravati. You see, they already built one Buddha statue or something. And then lower part is they want to become sort of study room for study. Then I expressed my appreciation. Then I told them, Pali tradition, Thailand, Burma, Sri Lanka, Cambodia, Laos, they preserve perfectly. Wonderful. Now Sanskrit, traditionally China. Now China become communist country. With Tibet, now our freedom lost. The handful Tibetan now keep using these tradition. And Mongolia also now, recent, or say the decades, a lot of damage. Over 100,000 monks killed. Very difficult. But now with new freedom, the Mongolian also making some effort. I always telling them, study is very important. Some recitation, some holy text and ritual, important, but study. Recite these things with fuller knowledge, then good. Without the knowledge or the meaning, just recite is not much important. Now in reality, I think a handful Tibetan scholars, students, now in Karnataka state, these are the main sources of the Sanskrit tradition. So you already have some connection, so you should exploit our knowledge as much as you can. Okay. This is not a question of sort of change religious faith. This is just an academic subject. So faith, individual matter. These are the academic subject, something useful for humanity. My hope, India revive ancient Indian knowledge, then through education, some fuller knowledge about importance of wholeheartedness with intelligence. Now this India eventually can offer whole world through education in order to become more peaceful, more compassionate human being through education, not through prayer. I think India can show rest of the world. So there is a real potential. Now this is beginning of the 21st century. So if we start some systematic sort of program, then I think later part of 21st century, I think India can make a significant contribution for world peace through inner peace. Okay. So then, the Kasa, Raja Morotra, the Kasa Sobot Bin Kasa, universal responsibility. When I received, you see, the Nobel laureate, when the announce come, so a number of people come to see me and ask me what I feel. And I just wrote, as a monk, you see, I'm Kasoda, no more, no less as just a monk. So, and then I express some kind of my appreciation to recognize some of my small contribution regarding peace, like that. That I express. Then when I reach Delhi, one of my Indian friend, first question is, what are you going to use those money? That's the first question, my Indian friend, as soon as I reached Delhi. I already made up, at that time, you see, I just have clear memory about Baba Amte's place. Oh, wonderful. Handicapped people, he organized and give them self-confidence and some because of leprosy. A few hands like that, but full of confidence because the organization look after them. Not look, you see, these people, not like that. Equally treated them. So I very much impressed Baba Amde. So half of that money, you see, I donated to Baba Amde's Kasa society, like that. Then half money, I set up this organization. And he, long time my friend, so he look after this money. But sometimes I criticize, don't be sleepy way. Should be more active. So now this time is you, Kasota, full cooperation with this. And he can spend some money. Very good. So like that. So that's all. Thank you. Now I'm looking forward, you see, through education, your university, with cooperation, some Tibetan scholar, I think you can certainly make significant contribution regarding promotion of ancient Indian knowledge. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Holiness, for enlightening us, even humorously at times, on the importance of studies. We shall cherish your words in our hearts and minds and fulfill them in our attitudes and lives. An important component of today's session that His Holiness has looked forward to is the interaction with students. The students who indicated their interest are requested to please follow the instructions of the ushers.
Some questions already? Yes, some questions. Any questions? Microphone.
Good morning. My name is Michaela Chetty from Department of Zoology.
Oh, yes. I think two microphones, one microphone keep here, one microphone keep here. Then those questions come online. Okay, yes. Microphone what they do? Yes, yes, yes. Okay.
Good morning. My name is Michaela Chetty from Department of Zoology. My question is, how do you maintain optimism, positivity, and faith when there is so much negativity in the world around us and disbelief in humanity?
Karsa. I think basically, look, European people, an early part 20th century, in the European continent, First World War, Second World War, according to some scholar, about 200 millions of people killed through violence. But then, after Second World War, people realize now our common interest is more important. So, the French leader, de Gaulle, and German leader, Adenauer, during wartime, arch enemy, but they realize killing each other, no use. So we should develop European Union. They started. I have full confidence if European Union not develop, then last a few decades, I think some killing must take place. Because European Union started or materialized, no longer killing among those member states. So this is one indication of a human being through suffering, through education. This is human beings thinking more wider, more realistic. So therefore, I think a human being, through suffering, through difficulties, we gain more deeper experience. So now this is the continuation of 20th century. I have more optimism. Now in this respect, India, China, most two populated nation. So close relation, Sino-Indian relation, very important. Traditionally, China is a Buddhist country. 1954, 55, I visited China, and many places I visited, number of Buddhist temples there. And then, of course, the totalitarian system, the communist, like Cultural Revolution, they deliberately try to destroy, but fail. It is clear. 1,000-year-old human the spiritual tradition, very difficult to eliminate by force. So now, after Cultural Revolution, now China, the ancient Chinese tradition, and including Buddhism, the revival, also very quickly. Now today, China, communist country, I think there are over 300 million Buddhists. Few years ago, Chinese Peking University, one Peking University carried a survey how many Buddhists in China. Then in their report, they mentioned over 300 millions. And many of these Chinese Buddhists are more educated people. So now, since then, Buddhist population increasing. So now, I think almost every week, some Chinese Buddhists came to see me. And since last few years, I also arrange special sort of arrangement teaching Chinese Buddhists come from mainland China. So things are changing. Now, I think Tibetan tradition, Sanskrit tradition, Nalanda tradition, Chinese Buddhist tradition also same. Tangsen, he spent some time at Nalanda and he met one Nagarjuna's disciple, Kasa. I think Nagabodhi. Some historians say he met Nagabodhi. And at that time, Nagabodhi very old. So Tibetan tradition, Sanskrit, Nalanda tradition, Tibetan Chinese tradition also Nalanda tradition. So now China, obviously totalitarian system is something new. It not fit. Now look, Hong Kong also you see like that. So more and more Chinese now follow Buddhism. And then India, land of Buddha, as Prime Minister Modi mentioned at the UN. India is land of Buddha. So culturally, spiritually, naturally, very close. And then now economically, you see the good relation, India and China, economically also is very important. So therefore, the good relation, Sino-Indian relation, something like Hindi chini bye-bye, isn't it? Is it that? I think serious Hindi chini bye-bye, I think can revive like that. So then, India, I think 1 billion, isn't it? China, about 3 billion. So over 2 billion, 2.5 billion. Big population. Traditionally, very close with Buddhist teaching and Sanskrit tradition. So I look, you see, these sort of aspects quite hopeful. The totalitarian system, I think, cannot remain long future. Change. This 1,000-year-old spiritual tradition remain another few centuries. Okay. Next question.
I've always seen you smiling and laughing. What makes you angry?
Microphone. Yes.
Your Holiness, I've always seen you smiling and laughing. What makes you angry?
Now, as a practitioner of Bodhicitta, altruism, according Shankardeva's teaching, I realize ultimate source of unhappiness is anger. So the whole sentient being, we usually call mother sentient being. So training these things, then almost, you see, entire phenomena appears very positive. Even sometimes I critical view some of these deities, very wrathful deities. Sometimes I feel love. And according to my own sort of also teaching, some sort of initiation, abhisheka, at the beginning, gektor, expel evil forces. Now, last few years, I no longer practice that. Nothing to expel. We all are our mother-centered being. So this practice, very, very helpful. Very helpful. Because targeting job 탐지지 장안 저 대신 이다니 바로 대란 저도 person 하다 해면서 가월티 쉬우시도가 슈그라 그러다.
And so this verse from Shantideva's Bodhisattvacharya Avatara is a very powerful verse, which says, today in the before the sight of all the Tathagatas or the Buddhas, I call upon all everyone to the feast of Buddhahood, and in the meantime also temporary blissful happiness in the world itself, and therefore all the gods and demigods and the rest be happy and joyful.
So I use my brain maximum way how to bring inner peace. Anger is the most powerful destroyer of inner peace. And self-centered, selfish, that also one sort of source. So the altruism is opposition of self-centered, selfish, that it reduces. Then unique Buddhist theory, nothing exists as appears, as I already mentioned, quite similar, quantum physics. So that reduce, so absolute sort of,
so that reduces your strong grasping at things as if they have absolute existence.
So, the Jashada Dimusum, number dollar John Sums, took the metu Chijilo, Temperland John Jurus, Zawashok.
And Master Nagarjuna's Mulla Madhyamaka Karika says, our attachment, anger, and confusion arises because of this some kind of a mental construct. And then
Namdos Kareslana took the metu Chijilo.
This mental construct here refers to, misapprehension or misconception of the reality.
So the practice of bodhicitta and the practice of understanding about shunyata, this is my main practice. Now over almost 60 years. So very, very helpful to weaken all these destructive emotions, including anger, like that. And of course, since childhood, my mother, very, very compassionate. So we, children of our mother, we never saw mother angry face. Always sort of compassionate. So I usually describe my mother was the first teacher of compassion for me. So like that. So now here, many ladies and also sort of as a males, you should teach your children from childhood anger, hatred. These are very bad for their own health and very bad for study. So compassionate mind, loving kindness is very useful in order to carry human intelligence more normal way. Too much anger, human intelligence cannot function normally. Okay. Next question.
We are taking questions from students who have already indicated their interest. Please respect the order that students are following.
Good morning. My name is Varad Narvekar. I am from Goa Engineering College, Electronics and Telecommunication Department. Your Holiness, my question is, how would be modern India and the world be different if the Nalanda University was still standing and it was not taken down? How would have been India would have been benefited from it?
그래서 가. 역시 무슨 그래? 그래. You mean that building? Oh.
During the destruction,
No, knowledge is here, not outside. When I visit Nalanda ruined area, some pigeons flying from here, yeah. But that doesn't matter. Their knowledge over 1,000 years we kept, in, at least in Tibetan Sarosvati, Tibetan monastic institution kept using this knowledge. So on this planet, Nalanda knowledge still very much alive. Now more and more, as I mentioned earlier, non-Buddhists also have interest, and including many scientists. Then, okay, 그래서 인다가. That's your main question.
yes, sir.
These Buddhist teaching not depend on big house, big temple, but study. And these texts, we have over 300 volumes, all translated from Sanskrit and Pali, and some, I think, Nepalese. So altogether, Buddha's own word, about 100 volumes, and then commentary, like Nagarjuna's commentary, altogether 200 volumes. So these we study. So that is important. Temple, not important. Usually we call temple here, inner temple is more important than external temple. Okay.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Manisha Narvikar. I'm from Dempe College of Arts and Science, Miramar. My question to you is, what do you have to say to people who...
Louder.
My question to you is, what do you have to say to people who take religion to promote violence or killing? We see so many of them.
그래서 now there's religious harmony. One of my commitment, my number one commitment, as I mentioned earlier. Number two, my commitment is promotion of religious harmony. India is example.
Yes.
This country, India's homegrown different religion, Sankhyaism, Jainism, Buddhism, and within these subdivisions. Now, for example, in Buddhism, as I mentioned earlier, Vibhashik, Sutantik, Chittamantra, and Madhyamika, like that. Then, from outside, Christian, Islam, Judaism, and then Zoroastrianism in Bombay, about less than 100,000 population, very peaceful, no fear. In Bombay, big city, you see, I think millions of Christians, millions of Hindus, and Muslim. The handful of Zoroastrian, Parsi, no fear. So, India, besides homegrown different religion, but from outside different religion, reach here and establish their own sort of city community, very peaceful. In this country, I never heard complaint between Sunni and Shia. And next neighbor, Afghanistan, problem. And Syria, in this area, problem. Because of Sunni and Shia killing each other. Unfortunately, in Burma, Buddhist, Muslim, some sort of say, bully. So these, I think, India's tradition, India, 1,000 years, several religions together. That's one advantage. So from childhood, Indian mind, yeah, there are many religious traditions. So the concept of several religions, several truth there. Those isolated country, some Muslim country, you see, only one truth, one religion. Then problem started. So in individual case, concept of one truth, one religion, good, in order to keep your faith more sort of single-pointed, very good. But in terms of society, that impossible. So in the terms of society, several truth, several religion is reality. We must accept that. So now in this country, Indian Muslim, from childhood, they already know there are different traditions. Then those countries, only Muslim religion, Islam. And then you see their mind a little bit sort of a lack of sort of contact with other religious people. So then problem. So since Indian Muslim, Shia and Sunni, one example in Ladakh, Sunni and Shia problem, I never heard. And India also, you see, I never heard. So Indian Muslim should take some sort of effort to bring together. So according to my suggestion, some Indian Muslim, they organize in Delhi, I think, national level, June. Oh, in Delhi, national level, the Indian Muslim organize one national level leaders or practitioner of Muslim together. I think 1 or 2 days. Since I suggested, and also I made some donation, so they invite me. I also participate. At that time, fortunately, some Iranian Muslim teachers there, they also participate. So India should take more active sort of role for promotion of religious harmony to show those countries where with a different religious tradition and some conflict. It's very unfortunate, unthinkable. All these different religious traditions inspire different philosophy, but all carry same message of love. One my friend, one Muslim in Ladakh Tortuk, so he expressed at public as a Muslim, you see, we love Allah. So similarly, we must extend our love towards the entire creature. Creature of Allah. Wonderful. So all religion, different philosophy, some say there is God, some say no God, but they all carry same message of love, forgiveness. So no problem. So therefore, when we saw, you see, in the name of religion, killing, unthinkable. So we need effort, tirelessly, promotion of religious harmony. Okay?
Thank you so much.
Good morning, Your Holiness. This is Miss Aditi Naik from Department of Botany, Goa University. My question is, our current education system is primarily focused on the development of the mind rather than the development of the heart and training of the emotions. And mind and the heart are the crucial tools which helps to bring about a positive change in the society. In this regards, what would be your recommendations in incorporating spirituality, well-being, compassion in the Indian system of education right from the childhood or the studenthood starting from schools, colleges and universities without the involvement of any religious practices or religious leaders? Thank you.
Kajab sir. Did he? So that's my. Firstly, this country, the concept of ahimsa, karuna, this part of Indian tradition. Now this not put in, not remain in temple and some ritual, not that way. In secular education field, we must include education about our karuna, practice of karuna, ahimsa, these nothing to do with God or religion or Shivaji. Simply how to create happy child, happy humanity, happy family. Not talking about the next life.
Thank you.
We'll take the last question.
Soppa Delek, good morning to Your Holiness. My name is Sumit Singh. I am from Department of French and Francophone Study, Goa University. My question is, life is full of problem and failure. Because of that, we face a frustration. How we get out from frustration?
Kasa. I think humanity, because of this brain, more or less human intelligence, very much combined with self-centered attitude. So therefore, I think like other animal, like tiger, the eating the other animal for their survival. Once I visited Kasadimini zoo, Karate, Hyderabad. Same place, not big sort of area, but same place. One side some tiger, one quite close some deers there. I asked the people who look after that sort of varsity, or who manages that museum, any danger? They say no danger. The tiger has fat give sufficient food, then no danger to attack. So, tiger, no religion, no rule of law. But they, by nature, they stomach full. Then peace. We human being, you see, always you see create the concept of we and they, and then fight. And then within the same community, at the global level, also you see gap, rich and poor. Within country, rich and poor. In this country, also the caste system, very bad. This, I think, feudal system use or create question of caste system, lower caste. We should exploit. The upper class have some right. That's absolutely wrong. So India's caste system is outdated and related with the feudal system. Now India, most populated democratic country, these kind of sort of old system must change. So then exploitation. So I think very serious. So then rule of law and corruption. Very sad. Very sad. Now we have to work these the corruption, I think make clear, make public. That's important. One time in Delhi, some people mentioned about these corruptions. Then I told them, sometimes it is necessary demonstration. If you organize some demonstration, I will join. So that's important. Although there is a rule of law, but some corruption or some sort of people who have power, they sometimes it's difficult. So people's voice through demonstration, such things, I think sometimes relevant, necessary, like that. Okay.
Thank you. Tukje che, sir.